Good afternoon, Eagle family and young men. Please welcome you. We welcome you to our very first installment of our Staying Clear Through Crisis video series, where we will be here discussing with some of your brothers ways that they are staying clear through this crisis. I know a lot has been going on since this whole COVID thing has taken place. And I know for many of you, you certainly are looking for ways where you can be supported, where you can stay strong. And this certainly is the forum where you will be able to express yourselves and hear from your brothers on ways that they are staying clear. My name is Erin Burnett. I'm the Director of Strategic Partnerships and Mentoring Services for the Eagle Academy Foundation. And I'd like to introduce our very special guests. First, we have Mr. Habeeb Lewis, Eagle Academy Bronx graduate, class of 2016, who is currently a senior at Long Island University in Brooklyn, and he majors in film and minors in business administration. Welcome, Habeeb. Next, we have Mr. Basheeru Camara, who is an Eagle Academy Bronx alum as well, graduating class of 2017, and he is currently a junior at Lehman College, who majors in psychology and minors in childhood education. Really like that, brother, that you are training yourself to give back. And then we have Eagle Academy Ocean Hill Senior, class of 2020, Mr. Jussiah Geradeau. Welcome, brother. It's great to see you. And alongside you, you have your other fellow senior, Mr. Angel Serrano, class of 2020. Let me also add, right, Jussiah, happy to announce that he is attending Nassau Community College in the fall and has decided to study mortuary sciences. Let's give it to Jussiah, no doubt. Let's give it to Jussiah. And Angel is actually, it's great to have choices, brother, because Angel is considering Clark Atlanta University in Hampton. So again, it's great to have you young brothers on the broadcast. I'm very proud of what it is that you've done up until this point. And thank you so much again for being our very first guest on our Staying Clear Through Crisis video series. Before we begin, as is tradition at all Eagle Academy town halls, we do want to start with libation. For those that do not know about libation, libation is an ancient African tradition where we pour water into a plant and we pay homage to those that have passed on, our ancestors, those that we have best interest for, well wishes for. And the plant that I'm going to pour libation into is a snake plant. This is the plant right here. And actually, the plant is representative of rebirth. If you know much about a snake, you know a snake sheds its skin. And the idea of a snake plant is that when we pour our libations into the plant, that is an opportunity for rebirth, for regeneration, and just for giving us energy every single day. So gentlemen, as you know, when I do pour libation, and again, for our audience members who want to join, when I pour libation, I say, as we say, and then the participants answer by saying, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. So I'll start, I will begin my first libation. Obviously, with these times of COVID and so many people losing their lives, I certainly want to pour libation for those family members, those individuals who have passed away as a result of this horrendous disease. Certainly, we need to use the memory of them to keep us going every single day. But again, my first libation, again, is for those that have lost their lives as a result of this horrible, horrible crisis that we are currently going through. And we say,
Ashe,
Ashe, Ashe, Ashe,
Ashe.
My second libation I'd like to pour is for those frontline workers who are sacrificing themselves every single day. I know we have a lot of young men whose parents are essential workers, and we applaud them for putting themselves out there every single day. Your teachers who are working so hard to keep you engaged. Even those food delivery people, right, that are making sure that we have hot meals delivered to our homes. We appreciate you so much, and we would like to pour Ashe for them as well. And we say,
Ashe,
Ashe, Ashe, Ashe,
Ashe.
And last but not least, I'd like to pour libation, gentlemen, today for our ancestors. You know, though this is a very difficult time, We as a people, we've been through much more difficult times and have survived. And we have to understand as we lead our lives every day that we stand on the shoulders of giants, and we need to remember the struggles that they went through so that that can give us inspiration every single day to stay strong, to stay resilient, to stay focused, and to stay eagle clear. And we say,
Ashe, Ashe.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I appreciate your participation in our libation ceremony. So we are going to jump right in to our questions. The name of this series again is Remaining Clear Through Crisis. And I know we have a lot of young men from the Eagle Academy Network. Big shout out to the Eagle Academy Network in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Harlem, Staten Island, and Newark. But we have a whole lot of young men who may not necessarily go to Eagle Academy. And so thank you so much for joining us, young men. But Habeeb, you being the elder statesman of the group, explain to the audience, and for those who may not be aware of what does it mean to be clear?
So the 5 letters of CLEAR stand for C, confidence, L, leadership, E, effort, A, academic excellence, and R, resilience. So basically confidence is, being confident in who you are. With any undertaking that you're, going through in life, it's important that you're confident and you're firm.
Yes.
Being a leadership is talking about being a leader, whether it be in your college campus, your community, your family. Effort is, despite what life throws at you, you always have to put your best effort forth. So that's good. And then academic excellence is, if you're in middle school, high school, or college, making sure that you're on top of your work, communicating with your teachers and professors to make sure that, you get good grades. And resilience is, being strong despite what life throws at you. You have to be, strong and have courage, to get through any obstacles. So.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you for that explanation. And again, as I even say to young men with that acronym CLEAR, right? We need confident leaders who give 100% effort towards their academic excellence and remain resilient. That's one of the things we really focus on here at Eagle. And like I said, we have a lot of young men that may necessarily be watching who don't go to Eagle, and staying resilient is so important. So Angel, let me ask you, what does resilience mean to you, and how have you been able to remain resilient during this difficult time?
Resilient means to me, with this world, and especially what's happening now with COVID-19 and things like that, we have to stay true to ourselves and remain ourselves no matter what. A lot of excuses are, we can make 1,000 excuses for everything that's happening to us, but what I think about resilience is, I think about a quote, and the quote is, life is 10% of what happens to us and 90% of how we react to the things, that is bestowed upon us. So,
Wait. Hold on one second, brother, because you hit me with some jewels early.
Yeah.
Say that one more time.
Life is 10% of what happens to us and 90% of how we react.
That is so true.
Yeah.
That is so true, right? We can't often control what happens to us, but I know we certainly can control how we react to it.
Yeah.
So that's great advice. Jussiah, how about you, brother? How have you been able to remain resilient during this time?
To remain resilient during this crisis, I made sure not to take this pandemic personal. I reminded myself consistently that this isn't only happening to me, but it's happening to millions of people around the world. So I stay strong, I keep my head above water, and I stay focused, and that's what matters most.
Yes, absolutely, brother. Sounds like you are remaining eagle clear for sure. And Bosh, how about you, brother? How have you been able to be strong during this difficult time?
I just want to say that everyone's answers were amazing answers, and I just want to piggyback off them and say pretty much how I try to remain remain resilient throughout this time is pretty much just understand that with hardship comes ease. And if you look at through the past and history, how every single time our ancestors had hardships thrown at them, such as slavery or or slavery, civil rights movements and whatnot, we always had a time when we bounced back. So I just keep that quote in my head: with hardship comes ease, and just let it fall through there.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right, brother. And again, that's why I think even an exercise like libation is so important, right? Because it's a constant reminder of those that have come before us, right? And not only that, those that have instilled the high expectations that we might have for ourselves. So again, thank you so much for that explanation, and also for the audience. Just want to be clear. I know that you are watching. If you have a question that you'd like to ask these wonderful brothers that are here, please be sure to type those in. I know we have a series of questions around the theme of resilience, being resilient, but we certainly want to answer any questions that any of our audience members may have for any of our panelists. All right. So, Angel, you gave a great explanation around how you are being resilient right now. But if you wouldn't mind sharing with the audience an event in your life where you had to be resilient through struggle, and what or who was your source of inspiration at that time?
Junior year was by far the toughest year I ever had, in high school. And during the summer, going into junior year, I'm in a program called Summer Search. And what they did was they sent me to North Carolina on a camping trip. Outward Bound is where I had my camping trip. And it was for 22 days. And without my mom, I'm, camping. I'm from Brooklyn. So it's totally different.
Right.
It was totally different. So that 22 days, I didn't know what to expect out of the 22 days. And it wasn't, camping and going to a cabin after. No, we slept on grass, things like that. We ate dried beans, things like that, actually camping. And that was totally out of my comfort zone. And in that actual 22 days, it was 2 days. It's called solos. And in that solo, you're by yourself, like for 2 days straight, and like actually by yourself, nobody there with you. So I had time to reflect. And what kept me pushing through those days were I was always thinking, because it was mentally challenging for me. I always thought, when you're in the dark tunnel, it's gonna be light at the end of the day, at the end of that tunnel. So,
Always.
if you can make it through the night, there's always a brighter day,
Yes.
So I just keep it pushing and, just try to build myself and better myself as hardships come.
Yeah, that's a great story, brother. Like you said, you from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You had to go camping. You out in the woods. I'm sure you heard sounds.
Yeah, bears. People that I was with during the solos, bears actually came to their tent. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because you gave that as an example of being resilient, but I also hear a little confidence in there, right? And leadership, right? Because every young man may not have the confidence, right, to take a risk like that. So I applaud you. I applaud you for that. Jussiah, is there an experience that you'd like to talk about?
Absolutely. Being that we're on high school stories, my freshman year was one of the worst high school years that I have. I left Eagle Academy in the 8th grade, and I went to John Jay Secondary School for Journalism. And there I wasn't focused at all. I was falling off, failing classes, wasn't going to class, and I realized at the end of the freshman year we were supposed to have 11 and 12 credits. I had 6. So right there, that one mistake that I made pushed me back a year in graduating in high school. So I had to realize it was either I was going to accept the fact that I was going to graduate late, or I was going to do what I had to do to bounce back from that mistake. So the thing I look to the most, and I'll tell anyone, was Eagle Academy. They gave me an opportunity to get back on track. So I went to summer school for the first 2 years when I went back, and that put me ahead my junior year. So I was ahead of my credits, and I had all my regents. So now as a senior, I could just kick back and worry about college applications because I was resilient between my freshman year and my junior year. and I'm on track.
Wow, that's an amazing. Yeah, let's give it up for Jussiah with that story. That's amazing, brother. Because again, you know, in life, you're gonna get knocked down, right? Everything that you expect to happen may not expect it happen the way you thought, right? And so, first of all, you have two choices when you get knocked down. You could choose not to get back up. So you chose to get back up, and you put in the work, right? Because it's another thing for somebody to give you an opportunity, but you have to put in the work in order to achieve that, right? And that's the element of C.L.E.A.R that I hear. I hear a little bit of leadership and effort, right? So great job, brother, and thank you for sharing that story. I know, Bosh, you had an interesting story as well that you were eager to share with your brothers.
Yeah, I had a very interesting story because so me and Mr. Barnette go really, you know, way back, and he knew that last summer, maybe like last year, by like November, I had like a really serious arm injury and I had to get surgery, and that was you know, a real bad time to be resilient. But I feel like this other story will resonate with more kids, and this is like me starting off when I was a kid, like kindergarten. I had a problem with stuttering. I had a really bad stuttering problem, you know. So growing up, that's talking is everything. If you can't talk to anybody, then you won't make any friends, and that was my problem. Like I would get picked up during mid class and get picked up and taking the speech classes, and like the students would look at me like, yo, why is he going over there? I thought he was regular because I'm in the regular classes, but I go to speech classes and they'll have like reading sessions, ELA, and I'll be in speech playing Jeopardy, Sorry, just to, you know, and with 6 kids, and I didn't know why. I'm like, I thought I was just like them. And with reading, it'll be like very hard reading, especially reading a class in front of everybody. So that really hindered my confidence. And like, I grew up with low self-esteem until I got to Eagle. But one thing that really helped me, honestly, was when I was young and I had that problem, I read a lot of books, such as Muhammad Ali, and you know, he's big on confidence. And like also like Albert Einstein had dyslexia. He's one of the smartest guys to ever walk on this planet. So I just, you know, and like I also have elder brothers who are very smart as well. So I look at them and I'm like, maybe I can do this as well. Why not me? So so 4th grade, I would, you know, the teacher would say, who wants to read this paragraph? And I'll go and try to read it. I probably stutter and sound crazy, but at the end of the day, y'all laughing, but laugh now, cry later. And then by the time I got to Eagle, I started to understand a lot more, and I graduated 4th in the class, 5th in the class, and now I'm sitting on a 3.4 GPA. So I just put in the work and I just was resilient. Now I feel like I got a lot more confident. I know you helped me with that as well. Everybody helps me with that, but definitely was tough, but resilient through that.
Yeah. Oh man, that's another great story. Thank you, Brother Bosh, for sharing that. Really, really appreciate you. And I'm great to hear that you are going to be a teacher. You want to be an educator. And the great thing about go ahead, Brother Bosh, right? Is that teachers will motivate you, right? Teachers will give you support. They will give you that confidence. And so I applaud you, brother, right? And I know that you are an inspiration to many. And again, thank you so much for sharing that story. All right. And last but not least, we have Brother Lewis. Is there a story that you'd like to share with us where you had to be resilient in life during a very difficult time?
Are we talking about in life or high school, or which one do you think?
It's really up to you, brother.
Well, one story for me, you know, that was personal, was losing my father in college. So I guess that was a very, you know, challenging time for me, you know, him being in the hospital for, you know, a year, and me having to go back and forth from school to the hospital to see, you know, if he'll be resuscitated because of a bad surgery he had, was one thing that really transitioned me into manhood. And that's one thing that I've learned a lot about myself throughout that entire process. So that's one thing in life where, you know, obstacles do come in your way as a young Black man. And it's important for you to be resilient because, you know, like, it's only you at the end of the day. So you have to make sure that you're there for yourself and that you understand who you are and that you find the strength to push through obstacles like that. So.
Wow. Yeah. My condolences, first of all, but thank you again, brother, for sharing that. My question for you is a little, I have a second question in regards to your story. I know Jussiah, Bosh, and Angel shared some of their struggles, and I know that there were adults, teachers that helped support them through that process. with so many young people, you know, possibly even losing their own parents as a result of this, who did you tap into to help you bounce back from the death of your father?
Well, I thank God for my mother, so I definitely tapped into her. I even reached out to some people from Eagle, you know, Mr. Joseph. I don't know if you heard of, you remember him. I reached out to him and I told him about my experience and how I was going through that, and he definitely, you know, spoke life into me. And and make sure that you have a strong support system as far as friends group, like people who will actually, you know, support you, and people who actually
Yes.
who speak life into you, not people who will bring you down, but people who will actually understand the process that you're going through. Because a lot of the time that I realize with young people is that, you know, we surround ourselves with the wrong crowd sometimes, and instead of
Yes.
the people actually, you know, speaking life into us and, you know, bringing us up, they're pulling us down. So it's important to surround yourself, know who you surround yourself with, so that you can be a successful person.
Yes. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Those were powerful words. Powerful words. Now, brothers, I have another question for you. You know, again, during this time is very difficult. And sometimes if you get too much into the news, you just kind of bombarded with negativity, right? And I think an important part of staying resilient is remaining positive at all times, right? And trying to find the positive out of a negative situation, right? And so even though we are currently in this situation, and there are certainly some negatives to point to, there is an opportunity for you to pull positives out of it and to better ourselves. So Bosh, is there something that you'd like to share with your brothers and the audience in terms of what positive things have you drawn out of this experience?
That's a really good question. I think the most positive thing I've got out of this coronavirus and this whole situation is learning about myself. Like, you know, we as people always say, like, we want to do this, we want to be this, and we have so much goals, but are we really willing to attain those goals? And now, like me, I play basketball for my school, and I'm still obligated to work out. I'm still obligated to get better. Also, I have classes as well. So it's like, do I really want to graduate? Do I really want to be successful like I say I do? So now I'm pretty much tested now, mentally tested. So I gotta, so if I have to go and do lunges, I'll do lunges, push-ups, do push-ups. So I'm learning about myself, and I'm actually learning that I'm actually mentally tough when I do want what I say I want.
Yes, absolutely, brother. You're absolutely right. And that's the one thing, right? Though it's a negative situation, the one positive thing is we have time, a lot of time that we may not necessarily had before. So that's fantastic that you're staying on top of things. I like that. Jussiah, how about you?
Yes, sir. One positive thing that I got out of this crisis is self-determination. Even though that we're unable to reach out to people and get the usual support that we usually have, we have to find it in ourselves to make sure we push ourselves to go further and do what we started. So that's something I got out of this.
Yes. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Great answer. And Habeeb, how about you? What positive have you taken from this experience?
I'm spending time with my family, connecting more with God, getting to know yourself on a more personal level.
Yes.
That's basically
very, very important. Very important, brother. And Angel, how about you, brother? What positive thing have you drawn out of this negative situation?
I've drawn, you know, one thing that I didn't really have time to do before all this. I'm starting to read more and focus on things that make me happy. You know, I'm learning about myself more than I ever, you know, did. And it gives me more time for my college process too. You know, this college process is hard, but you know, now we have more time to do things. So
yes. Yeah, you know, you're absolutely right. I know a lot of times people are saying, well, I'm busy, I can't do that, I can't do this. Well, you certainly can't use that excuse now, right? And I really like the answers, right? Touch base with your family, touch base with yourself, exercise, work out, read, write poetry. You have to have some type of outlet during this crisis, right? And I actually told a friend of mine, I said, not only is this a good time to connect with your families, but use this as a springboard to continue to stay connected to them. You know, often we won't reach out to family members until something happens that's dire or an emergency, right? But that should be something that we do all the time. Life is short, and if nothing else, this crisis has taught us that. So staying connected to family, staying connected to a network of people who will support you is very, very important in making sure that you are staying resilient. A lot of you guys talked about self-reflection. And, you know, I know at Eagle, we recite a poem called Invictus as part of our town halls and our different events. And for those that do not know, Invictus is a poem about inspiration. It's about staying resilient. And it was actually written by a gentleman by the name of William Ernest Henley, who wrote the poem when he was on his deathbed. He had a very difficult life. He was at his lowest point, and he wrote this poem as a way to motivate himself. And actually, the poem is still utilized by many people to this day outside of Eagle. I know a lot of fraternities have their members memorize the poem. So before we get into the conversation about Invictus, Brother Jussiah, why don't you recite that for our audience members who may not know? Invictus straight.
Out of the night that covers me, back is the pit from pole to pole. I think whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloody, but I'm bowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade. And yet the minutes of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged the punishment, the scroll. I am the master of my fate, and I am the captain of my soul.
Wow, I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. There was a lot of powerful language in that poem. And I know, again, whether you go to Eagle or whether you do not go to Eagle, right? That poem can just be a source of staying recharged every day, staying strong, staying resilient. So my question, let's start with Angel. From that poem, what line stands out to you and can be used by others as a source to remain resilient? And what does that line mean to you?
The first line that I thought of was, I'm the master of my fate, I'm the captain of my soul. You know, I feel like that speaks resilience off rip, you know? With this COVID-19 and just with anything, you know, a lot of people make excuses for things, you know? I want to get a job, but I can't because, you know, it's hard. The unemployment, you know, it's always excuses, everything, you know, and especially with my senior year, you know, college is important. I could have easily said, oh, I'm not going to do this, you know, I can't fill out my FAFSA because I'm not in school. You know, it's so many excuses, but at the end of the day, I'm Angel and you are you, everybody who's watching right now, you are yourself, you know, and I always want to remember that you have what you can do, you know, things are out of our control, but we are still in control of the things that we can handle, you know, we can handle anything we want in this world, you know, so that speaks resilience to me. And that's what
absolutely. And I think someone made the point earlier, you know, they can't control necessarily what happens or what other people do, but I can certainly control how I react to what other people do. So I think that that's a fantastic line to lift up, brother. Thank you so much. Habeeb, how about you? What line from Invictus really stands out to you?
And yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. So that speaks about, you know, being brave.
Hold on. The line that you said is, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. What does that line mean?
Despite the obstacles that come throughout life, it talks about bravery. And it talks about, you know, facing anything that comes head on. So for example, this pandemic, which is a very, you know, crucial crisis that we're all going through together, we're facing it with bravery. For example, like the nurses who are in the hospitals, you know, they're facing, you know, death every day with bravery. So it's important that we continue to just face life, you know, with bravery. And for me, you know, despite, you know, any obstacle that comes your way, or if you're applying for a job, if you're applying for an internship, you have to show the employer that, you know, I am brave and I am who I am, and I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna do my best in this job field. So I'm gonna do my best, you know, to make this company better, or, you know, make my life better. You know, that's all part of bravery.
Yes, yes. Thank you. I like that explanation, right? Bravery, right? Because the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. To me, when I hear that, I think of, okay, you know, when he wrote that, he knew that the years ahead, right, will be troublesome. And even after this COVID crisis, right, like we all know things aren't necessarily going to be the same. But despite how different they may be, we, right, will face that unafraid. And what will allow us to face that being unafraid? I believe it's what we pour into ourselves during this time. So we prepare ourselves for when that time does come. So I love that line as well. There's so many lines in Invictus that resonate with me, but that's a great one. Bosh, how about you? What line from Invictus resonates with you?
The line that resonates with me in Invictus is, in the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. And that resonates with me because I was always a kid who made excuses, you know, like growing up, like, let's say I don't get a good grade because teacher or this and that. And I noticed that every single time I made excuses, I never seen success. But the next man who didn't always seen success and always was recognized for what he did. So so circumstances, sometimes you can't control what circumstances you're in. Some people might be poor, some people might be rich. You know, you're just born like that. It's just a circumstance. So it just depends on how you bounce back from that, how you become, like how you be resilient from that and make that circumstance into a positive. So that really resonates with me a lot. And also I feel like it resonates with the whole humanity as a whole, honestly. Because we can't choose our circumstances, but we can choose the output of it. We can choose the result.
Right. And to that point of the line, we can't necessarily complain, right?
Yeah, we can't complain, no.
The time that we often waste complaining could be used towards building ourselves up even stronger. So that's a fantastic line as well, brother. So many great lines. And last but not least, Jussiah, what line from Invictus really resonates with you that you think young men could really benefit from?
Well, I'll say the line I will use from Invictus is, under the bludgeoning of chance, my head is bloody, but I'm bound. Reason being is because the crisis has put us all in bludgeonings, where we feel as if we were standing still, or where we feel as we were being beat upon our heads. But I feel like the thing that we have to remember most is that even though we're under the bludgeoning of chance, we still have blessings of choice. We still can choose what motivates us. We still can choose what makes us happy, and we can still use them blessings to get us through this crisis.
Wait. Did you say we could turn the bludgeonings of chance into blessings of choice? Is that what you just said, brother?
Yes.
Oh man,
yes, sir.
And you know what? You're absolutely right, and you're absolutely right. Right, because again, you can take, first of all, bludgeonings of chance means you had no control over it, right? It just happened to you. But you can, and that almost goes back to what are we taking, the positive things we're taking out of this. This is a bludgeoning of chance. But everything you guys said that you are doing to improve yourselves is actually a blessing of choice, right? And so I like that. I like that terminology you use. And to even take it a whole nother level, right? Your blessings of choice can hoist you towards your success, right? How you like that on wordplay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Great job, brothers. Really appreciate that. You know, we got a question from one of your brothers, and I just want to share it with you. I know we're running out of time shortly, but and this is open to the floor. He says, and this is from Amir Robinson, Brother Robinson. He says, brothers may come out of this slacking on what's important. How do we get them back into a productive mindset? Brother Angel.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm not even gonna lie, you know, beginning of this pandemic, you know, the first week I was going crazy. Like, you know, I didn't really want to stay inside. You know, I'm outside. It is totally different for me, you know? And you got to think about your purpose in life. And or if you don't even know your purpose, you know, what is your goals? You know, everybody has goals, you know, and your goals change every day. You know, one day my goal might be I want to drink some 16 ounces of water or something like that. And then the next day I might want to drink 24. You know, it's just your goals change different, but always remember your goals and what are you gonna do to chase your goals? You know,
Right.
if you don't work on Tuesday, how is that gonna affect your goal? That means you gotta work hard on Wednesday, you know?
Right.
So just
Right.
always think about it, you know, and it's not you could, you know, not slack off, but you know, relax and get yourself back into your, you know, right place, state of mind. But just know once you come back, you got to work 1,000 times harder.
Right. I think that's an excellent point that you raised, right, Angel, right? Sometimes it's better to be preventative. All right. Be proactive instead of reactive, right? So again, what you don't want to do is put yourself in a position where you're putting yourself in a hole and you have to dig yourself out. Right. So again, you always have to keep that in mind. Great answer. Bosh.
Yeah, so I pretty much want to piggyback off what you said. You said it's better to be proactive than reactive. And what I was gonna say was instead of waiting for when outside opens or waiting for this pandemic to end, how about you start building good habits now?
Yes.
If that includes going to sleep early, I know all your friends and not all of us want to stay up late, but you stay up late and you usually waste time. So going to sleep earlier, that can be a really good thing. Wake up earlier, get things done, working out, working on your writing, reading, just try to build good habits now. So this time when you go out and everything is open, everything's second nature. So try to build habits now.
Yeah. Excellent point. Excellent point. Brother Jussiah, you had something you wanted to add?
Yes. One thing that I always do when I feel like that I'm slacking or falling off, or even when I'm getting in my thoughts, or as some people say, in my feelings, I would think about all the times where I messed up and how much it took for me to get back on track. And I never want to be in a place where I have to feel like I owe somebody something, or I have to work extra hard to catch up because I decided to let an opportunity pass. I always want to be ahead of something. So I made sure I stay ahead. I made sure I didn't make them same mistakes. I embraced all my mistakes.
Yeah. I think that's an excellent point as well, right? Like sometimes we make mistakes and then we have short memories, right? We forget the struggle that we went through, and you always have to keep that in mind. You know, another thing that I'd add, Brother Robinson, is make sure you surround yourself with positivity. You know, I think if you surround yourself with positive people, like-minded people who will keep you lifted and will help you process through this, like we can do nothing alone, right? Everything is about your support system. So finding the right support system, I think, is key as well, right? But great suggestions, great answers, everyone. Last question before we wind down for this episode. And again, young men, if you've submitted a question and we weren't able to get to it, please remember that this will be a weekly broadcast. And if we have not been able to get to your question today, we will certainly get back to it. We will get to your question next Friday, same time, 3:30, Facebook Live. But my last question is this, and I'm posing it first to Jussiah and Angel. My question is this: as seniors, you know, you've lost so much. You know, you likely will not get your prom. I know we may do a virtual graduation. You're going through the college admissions process. What's one last piece of advice that you would give to your brothers so that they stay on track, so that they get that diploma in June, right? Because we have not crossed the finish line, and that they actually complete that college admissions process, the application process. What piece of advice would you have for them?
Well, if I could be completely honest, my senior year is one of the most difficult things that I have to deal with. As tech savvy as everyone thought that this generation was, this pandemic proved that we weren't so smart. Another thing to add on is that human beings we weren't made to social distance or to be distant learning. We were made for direct contact. So it's a hard pill to swallow for all of us. However, I advise you guys to try as hard as you can, do the best in whatever you do, and please don't take anything for granted.
Great, thank you. Angel, did you have something to add to that?
Yeah, like Brother Jussiah said, you know, first I want to say for everybody who's watching Class of 2020, I really, you know, we really missed out, you know, but you know, we just gotta keep on moving forward. I'm sorry, you know, I didn't hear that from nobody yet, you know, so I just want everybody to know, Class of 2020, I'm sorry that this is happening to us, you know, but like we said, this whole Facebook Live, we can't, you know, we gotta bounce back, you know. Life is gonna, like Brother Barnette said earlier, he said that, you know, life is gonna knock us down. This was a knockdown. Either you're gonna stay down, which is bad, you know, it's whatever you want to do. You could stay down or you could get back up and work hard. So keep on pushing, you know, we here for you, you know, in spirit, and you know, just keep on pushing and you're gonna get through, and we're gonna get this diploma. We're gonna graduate college. Everything is gonna be good. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Great advice. And again, you know, hold each other down, right? Eagle is about brotherhood, right? So this is a time that not only are we living Invictus, but we are living brotherhood, right? And make sure you stay connected to your teachers, because they certainly want to see you win. They certainly want to see you succeed. But as long as you stay connected and focused, everything should work out in your favor. And Bosh and Habeeb, we have a number of alumni, right, that are on the line, that are in college, like you guys. And, you know, this not only has impacted high schoolers, right? We have middle schoolers who are missing out on their graduation. I know, Habeeb, you are actually scheduled to graduate this May. Congratulations on that, brother. Let's give it up for Habeeb. Right? Aspiring filmmaker. I know I can see your name in bright lights one day. But Bosh and Habeeb, what piece of advice would you have for college students as they wrap down their college year, and so that they remain focused?
If it's me, since you know, like Habeeb's about to graduate, I'm in a different position right now. So I would say for juniors now, like try to take everything good with this bad and look forward towards the future. Like I said earlier, with hardship comes ease, and it's always going to be something better to come. You know, we're definitely in need of something better. So look toward the future and try to build more goals. Try to build more goals, small goals, minor goals, major goals, and step by step try to complete them, and just try to look towards success.
Great. Thank you, brother. Thank you. And Habeeb?
Mind over matter. That's a big thing. So you have to make sure that you scheduling is good, and you have your priorities straight. You make sure, and even like write quotes to yourself. Tell yourself positive affirmations. Even, you know, meditation. Anything to get yourself in the right frame of mind to move towards success. You know.
That's great. That's great. And you had mentioned, I think someone mentioned it earlier, get on a schedule, right? Don't find yourself sleeping late or staying up late, sleeping late. You should get up in the morning, take a shower, eat breakfast, get ready for school, and tackle each day as if we were outside, right? Moving around just like we were before. Again, what we're doing is we're strengthening ourselves for what's to come afterwards. So again, great insight. Appreciate all the answers from everyone. Great panel. Give yourselves a huge round of applause. I'm sure that those that have been watching got a whole lot out of this. For our audience, remember, each week we will be convening at the same time, 3:30 on Facebook Live, where we will be talking about a different element of C.L.E.A.R. And our topic next week is actually academic excellence, right? Like that is very, very important. So we are going to have some students on giving some suggestions on how they are staying academically strong. So we certainly welcome everyone to please tune in. Again, those that gave questions, and if we were not able to answer them, we will answer those questions next week. Please be sure to follow the Eagle Academy Foundation on all of our social media, Instagram and Twitter at EAFNYC, and use the hashtag mentoring is the key. You know, we truly believe that mentoring is essential, not only for young people, but it's essential for everyone. I still seek mentorship out even at my age, which I'm not that old. But I still seek mentorship out because I know it's very, very important. So please continue to follow us on social media. Again, please join us next Friday. May 1st, excuse me, at 3:30, where we will be talking about the very, very serious concept of academic excellence. Before we close out, there are a few students that I like to shout out across the Eagle Network who have done amazing things this past week. We have some Eagle students who are part of the My Brother's Keeper mentoring program. And we have some students who have been named as MBK Fellows, which is a huge, huge accomplishment. And so I want to recognize those young men right now. We have Stefan Allen and Romano McKenzie from the Eagle Bronx School, who are actually finishing up their second year. Yes, absolutely, of fellowship. And we have some new inductees, new MBK Fellows, who did a phenomenal job presenting at the statewide virtual MBK Symposium, which took place yesterday. And that is Mr. Gian Baez from Eagle Bronx. And let's give it up for Gian. Let's give it up for Gian. And we also have, excuse me, I'm sorry, I don't want to get his, we have Mr. Troy Williams, Troy Williams from Eagle Queens. Let's give it up for them. So obviously when we do our episode on leadership, we want to have those young men come in. So gentlemen, as we close out this virtual town hall, we started it like we start every other town hall in Eagle, and we are going to close out the way we traditionally do. And that is the reciting of Invictus. All right. Are we ready, gentlemen?
Yeah,
sir.
All right. Now we are reciting this as a source of inspiration for everyone that's listening. Invictus straight. Don't start at once. Habeeb. Invictus straight.
That covers me. Black as a pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul.
In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not once nor cried aloud. Under the budgeting of chance, my head is bloody, but I'm bowed.
beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horrors of the shade. And yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid.
It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. We are the master of our fate. We are the captain of our soul.
We are the master of our fate. We are the captain of our soul.
We are the masters of our fate. We are the captain of our soul.
We are the masters of our faith. We are the captains of our soul.
And we are the masters of our fate, captains of our souls. Thank you so much, Facebook audience, for joining us for our very first